I got asked to come back again this year to give you an update on what happened within the last year. But first I'm just going to go and quickly talk about why I was searching for a living kidney donor. So my kidney journey started at the age of 4 when I was diagnosed with urinary reflux, which damaged my kidneys. But they were able to stabilize my kidney function, and I was able to live a normal life into adulthood. At the age of 23, my remaining kidney function started to decline due to a kidney infection and the flu. So the doctors did everything they could, but by June 2007, we were out of options and I had to start dialysis. Right away, my father stepped forward to be tested, but unfortunately, due to medical reasons, he was not able to. So they put a fish in as an access, and I adapted well to dialysis. Everything was going very well. I continued to work full time, I volunteered, and I went on vacation. Things were going well until November 2012, when my official access for dialysis clotted. The hospital inserted temporary access right away, and a couple months passed and they reassessed for another access. And that is when they found out, unfortunately, that I had blood clots that were blocking any future access to be placed in my arms. I was also told that due to my high antibody level from having a blood transfusion as a child, it would be difficult to find a donor. That was not the news I wanted to hear, but I was determined to find a donor, and at the very least, spread awareness about the importance of organ donations and to get more people registered as organ donors. So I set up a website, and I also set up interviews in newspapers and radio shows in Ottawa, as well as my hometown in Sudbury, to bring more awareness about organ donation. Prior to having issues with my dialysis access, my mother passed away in 2012 after waiting 11 years for a kidney transplant. And I watched as her health rapidly declined, and there was nothing I could do. I didn't want to see anyone else suffer the same fate. Once I started speaking out, over 10 people got tested. From the people who got tested, one came back as a perfect match. But as fate would have it, in the end, she was not able to donate due to medical reasons. And I believe that things happen for a reason. As much as I was sometimes upset at the turn of events, I kept reminding myself that my kidney was out there. And as luck would have it, on May 26, 2014, at exactly 12:53 p.m., I got a call at work, and it was a transplant coordinator that a kidney has been found, and I was given 2 hours to make my way to the hospital. I quickly informed my supervisor and co-worker of the news, and I ran out of the office, heading home and throwing a bunch of stuff in a travel bag and headed to the hospital. From the moment I got the call to the moment I went into surgery, I never stopped shaking. The whole time at the hospital, I asked every doctor if the kidney was a good match, and they all assured me that it was a perfect match and that I didn't have any antibodies against it. The whole day at the hospital while I was being tested to ensure that I was healthy enough to undergo surgeries, I was riddled with fear since I didn't know if any issues would arise from the transplant and if things would go smoothly. I also couldn't believe that I was waiting almost 7 years and I was actually going to get a kidney transplant. I didn't end up going into surgery until the next day on the May 27th at around 11:30. And by that point, I hadn't slept. I said a little prayer when I was on the operating table just before I was put under, that God would take care of me, my family, and my donor's family during this difficult time. 6 hours later, I woke in recovery and asked me how things went. According to the doctor, I was the chattiest patient he's seen post-surgery, and he even asked the nurse, it was like that the whole time before he got there. The next day, before bringing me back to the hospital room, I was taken to nuclear imaging to see that the kidney was functioning properly and clean my blood. So they injected me with the dye, and the radiologist placed the computer monitor so I was able to watch the whole time. It took about half an hour. But I was just watching, I can see my kidney starting to take shape as it was taking in the dye, it was filtering in my blood and removing the dye. And at that moment, it kind of finally felt real. And I'll never forget to be able to see the new kidney working, and I remember starting to cry. All my blood work results were showing that everything was working perfectly as well, and it was kind of hard to believe because I was getting results back that I'd never even seen since I was me before. When I got back to my room, I decided to go for a walk around the unit. So I had a nurse on one side helping my IV, my boyfriend on the other, and my dad slowly walking behind as I was slowly walking around the unit. And every nurse and every doctor we passed was surprised to see me up after surgery. But you know what, I had new leaves on life, and I wasn't going to waste any of it sitting around resting in a hospital bed. But if it wasn't for the donor and my donor's family for making the decision to be an organ donor, I wouldn't be here today sharing this wonderful news. I'll continue to live every day to the fullest now that I've given them the second chance. When I walked out of the hospital after transplant on June 3rd, it would have marked my 7th year on dialysis, but instead it will now mark my second chance of life and a new, happier anniversary to celebrate. Tomorrow will be 5 months since my kidney transplant, and everything's going great. Since being on dialysis, I've experienced a new sense of freedom. Since the last couple of years, dialysis was full of worry over losing my access. My life has changed dramatically, and I have more energy to accomplish activities in my day. Dreams I used to put on the shelf, I can now dust off and figure out how to make them reality. I'm grateful every day to my donor, and there isn't a day that doesn't go by that I don't think of them. I'll continue to advocate for the importance of organ donation for the rest of my life, and I hope that nobody will have to wait as long as I did.